Hello and welcome back. This is Neelakshi Sengupta and you are listening to Just One Question. English language theatre in Mumbai owes a lot of its growth stories to Alyque Padamsee and Pearl Padamsee. Carrying that legacy ahead is their daughter, RAELL, who has grown up with theatre props, makeup, costumes on one hand, and observing her parents and their two completely different styles of work on the other. We decided to hear the stories of this first family of English language theatre of Mumbai from none other than the very vibrant, versatile and dynamic RAELL Padamsee. Hi RAELL, I guess you have experienced theatre even before you were born, right? Tell us your story.
Yeah, absolutely. In the sonogram, I'm sure they kind of found, me patting my feet to musical theatre or something to that effect. But really, of course, mum and dad, as you know, and the entire family from my uncle, Bobby, have been involved in the English theatre movement in the country, literally. I mean, Bobby started it.
Oh wow.
And so Bobby actually started the English theatre movement in the country. And my home at Bella Terrace was designed like a theatre. So we had, our drawing room was the stage. The terrace, which was huge, my father built it from scratch. It was just a plain kind of space and he managed to do the whole design like a theatre. So the terrace was where the audience sat, day in and day out. And all our bedrooms were like the dressing rooms and the changing rooms and the makeup rooms, etc., etc. So there was non-stop drama in our house growing up.
This is fascinating. Must have been so much fun. Tell us please, what happened after that?
Right, and so then, theatre group, which was started, like I said, by my parents and Bobby, was celebrating 40 years. And Vijay Krishna, in fact, came to me and said, we're doing this 40 years on. We want to do 5 plays to celebrate theatre group's existence. And he said, would you produce them? And at that point in time, my mother was directing Duet for One, which was on multiple sclerosis, which was a very, very important issue that we were dealing with at that time, however many years ago. So I said yes, and then we did Antigone, we did Duet for One, etc. And that's when I started my own production company, which is Ace Productions.
I'm so glad you had said yes to production then. And I'm curious to understand about your training from your parents, particularly about theatre.
Right. So mum and dad both had different styles of working, and yet they had the same kind of styles, because my mother studied at Lambda in London and dad studied at RADA. So I'm presuming that all the, very, very, what can I say, focused, and you had to be super disciplined, and it was like, being in the presence of many Hitlers when you were at theatre at rehearsal. But yes, so mum had a far more easygoing way of directing. She worked a lot with her actors one-on-one. She had a lovely way of blocking her plays.
Okay.
So, first you couldn't just go up on stage and do whatever you had to do. You had to first be blocked. So she'd be sitting at the dining table, she'd take out her little makeup kit, she'd pull out all her little lipsticks and her kajal and her this and her that and her compact. And okay, darling, now this is the sofa, this is you, this is you, this is you. Remember who you are, now we're going to block. So she'd start up like that. So everybody was intrigued by this lady who was, the Tsarina of theatre, doing this crazy, trip on her dining table. But it was lovely.
I can imagine.
So from then she'd move into actual space, etc., etc. She was very, very, very big on homework. There was no way you could go anywhere. You could not come to rehearsal. You could not go to a meeting. You could not do anything without doing your homework. So don't come and faff. It's of no consequence, and you will be thrown out if that was the case. And she was also a big one about everybody does everything. So it was a very kind of, equal space. So either you did if there was something lying on the stage, you do the jharu, you picked up your own sets, costumes, did everything. It was very involved, and I think that's the biggest growth that people got. Also, everything had to have lists, so there was writing of everything. So that was my mother, and she was extremely instinctive and very emotional, and that was the hallmark of all her plays, I think.
Pearl, your mother, was truly ahead of her time, and everyone who has been trained by her only has the fondest of memories to share. Tell us about Alyque, your father, please.
My father, on the other hand, was extremely technical. He liked to, like I said, he involved a lot of technology, and everything had to be just so the light would be at this time. So he would conceptualize, stand back and conceptualize from an overview. So the light will come on here, then you will move, then this will happen.
Uh-huh.
With my mother it was the other way around. She'd direct the play, and the lighting designer came and lit according to what she had done. But this is the reverse. So little things like that. Of course, he was also very particular, extremely disciplined. You cannot just come there and do nothing. And incessant rehearsals. My father just had incessant rehearsals. You could be there till 12 o'clock at night, and he'd still be doing that one same scene till you got it perfect. And that was, he was a perfectionist in that way. And similarly with the technical aspect, we learnt a lot from him, really a lot.
I guess that also came from advertising, where he was known as the god of creativity and the use of technology. He really had the best to learn from.
So if you ask me what I've learned from both of them, obviously all this kind of, was input into me, whether I liked it or not. But from like I said, from a conceptualizing point of view, I'm so lucky because I've had the best of both worlds. So I pre-plan everything to do with our plays, who will enter from where, what, stand on what spot, etc. So all that is my lighting design, my set design, everything is worked out in advance before we even cast the play. It's like that. And of course things vary once you go into it.
What amazing growing up years, Rael. Truly blessed. I'm craving to know more and learn more from you. And I'm sure so is my audience. But now I got to take your leave. We'll be back soon for more. Do write to me with your feedback and requests, please. I shall be waiting. This is your host, Neelakshi Sengupta, and you have been listening to Just One Question.